Hello, welcome to ExpressBook Insights. Today we are going to decode the culture code, the secrets of highly successful groups. This book mainly discusses how a team can have a high-performance culture. High-performance teams can perform beyond expectations, creating results far exceeding predictions. Almost all organizations want to know how to achieve this. Google conducted a related study called the Aristotle Project. They found that the key reason is not who is in the team, but how they collaborate. How do high-performance teams collaborate? Today, the Book of the Culture Code provides an answer. The author is the best-selling American author Daniel Coyle. He has served as a consultant for organizations such as the U.S. Special Forces and professional sports teams. To write this book, Coyle spent several years visiting and researching successful teams, including the U.S. Navy SEALs and the animation company Pixar. Coyle also discovered that the success of high-performance teams is closely related to team culture. Title: The Culture Code may sound mysterious, like something elusive, but in reality, the Culture Code is a set of practical actions. As the author says, culture is, in fact, a set of life relationships designed to achieve common goals. Culture doesn't care about who you are, it only cares about what you do. In the book, the author summarizes 3 cultural codes of high-performance team: safety, cooperation, and self-organization. Self-organization means an organization's automatic transition from disorder to order, from lower-level order to higher-level order. These cultural codes are shaped by the same signaling system. In this system, 3 types of signals play a role from the bottom up. Belonging signals create a sense of security for the team. Vulnerability signals enhance teamwork. And goal signals make a team self-organize. Teams with these cultural codes create connections between members and translate these connections into effective actions, leading to high performance. Next, let's get to know these 3 types of signals and see how they shape security, cooperation, and self-organization for the team. In the first part, let's first understand what belonging signals are. They are a series of behaviors that help teams establish a secure connection, including spatial distance, eye contact, attention, body language, and so on. After accepting these signals, we will feel safe. Security allows people to relax their vigilance, however. Its significance is often underestimated. People think it won't have any practical impact, but in the author's view, a sense of security is the foundation of a strong team culture. If a person lacks security in a team, it is challenging to be fully committed. If a team lacks security, problems will rise one after another. The book describes a negative example: a militia missile camp in the United States. The missile operators here are responsible for controlling the militia 3-type missiles, which are highly destructive weapons. The energy released by a single missile is 20 times that of the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima during World War II. The work of missile operators is crucial, but for some time, they faced a series of problems. For example, some people were suspected of illegal possession, use, and distribution of cocaine and hallucinogens. Others hid cheating systems in their phones to pass tests. When hearing about these negative events, we might instinctively think it's due to the personal qualities of these missile operators. The leaders of the missile camp also thought so, and they took many measures to ensure that the missile operators were in the best condition and ready at all times. However, these measures did not work, and problems continued to arise in the missile camp. This seemed to confirm our suspicions that some missile operators had poor personal qualities. However, the author interviewed some former missile operators and found that they were intelligent and articulate individuals. They all achieved success after leaving the missile camp. The author believed that the continuous problems in the missile camp might not be due to the personal reasons of the missile operators, but rather a poor team culture. The term poor here does not mean a lack of discipline within the missile camp. They were highly disciplined. Poor refers to the environment here, which completely undermined the members' sense of security. In the missile camp, the missile operators were paired in groups of 2, and they took turns assisting in the missile silo underground, 24 hours a day. It was cold and cramped, and their only companions were the missiles that had been stored for decades. It was evident that they lacked social and emotional connections. In terms of their careers, missile operators were originally as important as pilots, and had the opportunity to transfer to other units in the Air Force. However, after the end of the Cold War, the future of missile operators also changed. They had no promotion opportunities in the missile camp, and no chance to move to other units. Lacking social connections and having no professional future, missile operators had to face a constant stream of tests. Some tests even required missile operators to memorize a 12-centimeter thick Double-sided printed launch code disk. If they did not perform well in the tests, it could jeopardize their future. We can all feel how scary the environment was. For the missile operators, they had no connection with each other, no future, and no security. In a team with security, the situation would be the opposite. People would feel connected to each other, see a future together, and feel safe. The author found that members of high-performance teams liked to describe their relationships with each other as a family. Their interaction patterns were also similar. They had a close distance between each other, and a lot of communication. Interruptions were rare during conversations. Since security is the foundation of team culture, how can we establish security? We need to understand how belonging signals affect us at critical moments. Mastering this skill takes some time and requires us to continuously learn and practice in our work and life. It's like playing soccer. You need to recognize the situation and react quickly before passing the ball to a teammate or dribbling. The author also provides some practical advice in the book. Today, we'll mainly introduce one of them. Make full use of onboarding moments. For a team, onboarding new members is an important moment. We'll see how Pixar used this moment. Imagine you've been accepted by Pixar. Whether you're an animation director or a cafe employee, on your first day, you and other new employees will be taken to a screening room. As instructed, you are to sit in the 5th row, because that's where the directors sit. Sitting in this position, you will hear these words no matter what you did before. You're now a filmmaker. We need you to help us make better films. Doesn't that sound inspiring and create a sense of belonging? An employee from Pixar's data management department said that experiencing this moment made him feel like a different person. To create a sense of security, besides emphasizing the delivery of belonging signals at critical moments, it is best to repeatedly deliver these signals in abundance. Some people might think it's unnecessary because team members are already familiar with each other and have established a secure connection. They don't need to keep delivering belonging signals. If our brains could logically process security, it would indeed not require continuous reminders and reinforcement. Fortunately, our brains find it challenging to process security logically, which means that security needs continuous reminders and reinforcement. To give an analogy, building a sense of security and belonging is like maintaining a fire. You need to keep adding fuel to it continuously to keep it burning. The fuel is the actions that can convey a sense of security connection. When a stranger says it's really raining and then asks to borrow your phone, they ignite the fire. When a team has established a sense of security and members have made connections, how can we ensure smooth cooperation in the team? This part will continue to talk about vulnerability. The cooperation performance of successful teams seems very smooth, as if members are naturally in sync. You may have seen comedy teams on variety shows, where members seem to spontaneously create entertaining performances when they come together. Some people may think that to build a successful team culture, you need to find people who fit well together. However, the source of teamwork synchronization is not compatibility, but awkward, painful interactions that deepen team cohesion and trust. Please note that awkward, painful interactions are not meant to make things difficult for teammates but to share their weaknesses, which is conveying fragile signals to the team. This viewpoint may seem counterintuitive at first. From childhood, we've been told to be self-reliant, brave, and take responsibility. Few people encourage us to display our vulnerabilities, and instinctively, we prefer to hide our weaknesses because exposing weaknesses can be detrimental to ourselves. So why does the author say that conveying fragile signals can enhance team cooperation? Let's look at an example from the book. There is a restaurant in New York called Gramercy Tavern, and its team is known as the Marine Corps of the culinary world. Let's imagine a scenario on a regular weekday lunchtime. There is a long line outside the restaurant today. You are working as a front-of-house server here. You have trained for 6 months to prepare for this day, knowing all the details inside out. At this moment, the assistant general manager, Scott, approaches you to have a conversation. Normally, you would expect him to boost your morale, but what he says instead makes you feel disheartened. He tells you that your work today is likely to be challenging. He says this not to undermine your morale but to guide you. Scott explains that how do we know whether your day will be smooth or not? We will know if you ask for help 10 times. Then we know your day has been enjoyable. If you try to handle everything on your own, it will be a disaster. Scott's intention is to encourage employees to seek help promptly when they encounter problems, to convey fragile signals to the team. This is not about openly showing weakness, but inviting others to help. The message conveyed by the fragile signal is you have a place here, and I need you. It sounds like as long as we can overcome our instincts and dare to show vulnerability, We can deepen cooperation with the team. In fact, people who send out fragile signals are not that important. What matters is how the received signals are responded to. If the other party also sends out fragile signals, the closeness and trust between you will increase. The author calls such interactions vulnerable loops. Vulnerable loops bring people together to solve problems, allowing each member to play their role in team interactions. Those moments of shared vulnerability that keep recurring are building vulnerable loops, creating opportunities to enhance team cooperation. The author of the book introduced for a team to cultivate the habit of sharing vulnerability. It takes time and repeated practice. It requires everyone to be willing to endure pain. Much like exercising muscles, the key to muscle training is having a plan. Next, let's take a look at how the Navy SEALs plan for sharing vulnerability. When Navy SEAL soldiers execute missions, their coordination is exceptional. On one occasion, they were working alongside another Special Forces unit, the Rangers. The Ranger commander was continuously giving orders via radio, while the Navy SEALs commander remained silent. The Ranger commander asked why the Navy SEALs commander wasn't directing his soldiers. The Navy SEALs commander responded, saying that he trusted his soldiers to handle the situation independently. Why is it that the Navy SEALs can cooperate effectively with minimal communication? This is closely related to their training methods. You might wonder if their training methods are highly advanced, involving extensive simulations of complex tasks to build cohesion. Interestingly, it's quite the opposite. The Navy SEALs training plan relies on an outdated and primitive method that has been in use since the 1940s. This training plan includes intense physical training, with one of the most grueling exercises being the log PT physical training. In log PT, -1 team members simultaneously carry a roughly 3-meter long, over 200-pound log, engaging in a 90-minute workout. The movements themselves aren't difficult, as they involve lifting, moving, and rolling the log, as well as doing sit-ups while holding it. What makes them challenging is that if one team member fails to secure the log correctly, the whole team feels the impact. If someone is only focused on themselves and doesn't adjust their strength, the log will roll back and forth, causing the team to blame each other and become emotionally charged. However, if the person beside the one struggling with the log thinks about the team and quickly helps distribute the weight, the log will regain balance. In essence, this seemingly brutal training is helping the team share vulnerability and build connections. The state of the log during training reflects the level of teamwork. If it keeps rolling, cooperation is lacking. If it appears smooth and quiet, it indicates ongoing communication. In addition to training, the Navy SEALs employ a crucial tool called After-Action Review (AAR). This is a meeting where honest feedback is given. Team members gather after training or missions to review every decision, discuss their own mistakes, and identify areas for improvement. The goal is not to praise or criticize individuals, but to establish a shared thinking pattern for the team and apply it to future tasks. There's a former Navy SEAL named Cooper who excels at creating great teams. He frequently uses the AAR tool. Cooper believes that no one can see or know everything, but people can share experiences and mistakes, observe how their actions affect others, and create a collective consciousness. This enables everyone to work together and unleash the team's potential. How do teams with a sense of security, connection, and cooperation create and maintain their goals? In the final part, we'll discuss the concept of goal signals to instill a sense of purpose in employees. Many teams use slogans or catchphrases. For example, IDEO, a renowned design company, uses the slogan "Less talk, more do." Another restaurant's slogan is "Create praise for the guests." Pixar has a motto: "Art challenges technology, and technology inspires art." To many people, these slogans may seem like mere words for external display, but the author found in his research that in successful teams, goal signals like slogans and inspiring stories are repeatedly and abundantly present in people's conversations. So why is this the case? Let's hear a story. There's a bird called a murmuration starling. The word murmuration combines mur from murmur and stern German for starling. These birds look ordinary individually, but when they gather in large flocks, they create one of the most beautiful sights in nature. A massive flock of murmuration starlings in the sky resembles an ever-changing cloud. In an instant, they can form the shape of a sand hourglass, and in another, they twist into a spiral. When facing a common predator like a falcon, the flock can swiftly move as one entity. If one starling becomes isolated, and the rest of the flock reacts by flying far from danger. People initially couldn't understand how murmuration starlings were so intelligent and had such cohesion. Some scientists even suggested that they might have telepathy. It wasn't until 2007 that theoretical physicists discovered the Secret behind their collective behavior. The flock's unity comes from their continuous attention to a set of small signals: direction, speed, acceleration, and distance. In other words, they rely on these tiny signals to create the illusion of a single organism. Much like how birds in the flock only need to focus on a few of their nearby companions. This concept of a high-information environment, full of crucial small signals, is what the author calls a high-goal environment. In successful teams, goal signals, such as slogans and team-building stories, frequently appear in conversations. These signals help focus the team's attention on each other and the common goal. They create a connection between the team's current efforts and future aspiration. In a high-goal environment, a team acts as a unified whole. Much like murmuration starlings, how to create a high-goal environment depends on the type of organization you are in, as there are generally two types: execution-oriented and innovation-oriented. Execution-oriented organizations follow a set pattern for each task, and their goals are clear. Innovation-oriented organizations need to create something that has never existed before, finding the right answers themselves. The following stories illustrate how both types of organizations can establish high-goal environments. First, let's look at how an execution-oriented organization, in this case, a government, tackled the challenge of controlling football hooligans. During the 2004 European Football Championship in Portugal, the Portuguese government faced the daunting task of dealing with thousands of rowdy English football fans who had a history of causing trouble at soccer events. The authorities had spent 21 million on riot control equipment and implemented a traditional approach. However, social psychologist Keith Stott introduced a novel method. Stott specialized in studying group violence incidents. He discovered that 95% of those arrested for football-related violence had no prior criminal record. He believed that, by changing the signals transmitted by the police to the fans, they could prevent group violence. Stott's approach was to stop controlling the riot by not controlling the riot. Under Stott's guidance, the riot police stopped using visible riot control equipment. Instead, trained liaison officers wearing light blue vests were placed in public view. These officers were not skilled in crowd control, but were trained by Stott to engage with fans, talk about coaching strategies, and team gossip. Stott also altered a standard police practice. When English hooligans kicked a football high in the air, the police would traditionally confiscate it immediately to prevent disturbances. Stott suggested that they wait until the ball landed near them before taking it away. This minor change reduced the perception of excessive police force and prevented escalations. Stott's new approach was highly effective in areas where the new method was used. Only one English fan was arrested during the tournament. In contrast, the traditional method with helmets and shields led to violence and arrests. The key to Stott's success lay in the shared signal he created: "We are here to be friendly." Although these individual signals may not seem important, when separated, when combined, they formed a high-goal environment, changing the narrative from violence to cooperation. In contrast, creative organizations face the challenge of innovation, however. Many organizations tend to prioritize ideas over the people who generate them. If an idea is considered mediocre, organizations often replace the person responsible. Pixar's co-founder, Catmull, had a different perspective. He believed that valuing ideas over individuals was a mistake. He viewed failure in creative organizations not as an anomaly but as a necessity, as all creative projects involve solving complex problems without immediate correct answers. Catmull believed that the goal of creative organizations should not be to produce groundbreaking moments of brilliance but to iterate through many ideas to find the right one. He emphasized focusing more on the team than on the ideas themselves, providing tools and support to help them improve their ideas continually. Catmull's view of failure was intriguing. He believed that it was inevitable for creative organizations to encounter disastrous ideas because creative projects inherently involve tackling complex problems that lack immediate solutions. To him, failure was a natural part of the creative process, and the goal was not to avoid it but to navigate through it to find the right choice. So, how did Catmull transform a seemingly average team into a great one? When Disney acquired Pixar in 2006, Catmull took charge of both Pixar and Disney Animation Studios. Disney Animation had struggled creatively for 10 years, with most of its films failing to resonate with audiences. However, under Catmull's leadership, Disney Animation's quality improved to match that of Pixar. They produced successful films like Frozen and Zootopia. Notably, there were almost no personnel changes during this transformation. What did Catmull and his team do differently? They created a high creative environment for Disney Animation. Previously, Disney Animation's employees were scattered across different floors of the office building. Catmull consolidated all creative and technical staff into a single central area to facilitate communication and collaboration. Disney Animation also shifted from a top-down approach to a more creative-centric model, where directors had creative authority, while executives provided support. Catmull managed Disney Animation similarly to how he managed Pixar. He would walk through the office area, observing the atmosphere and interactions. If he noticed awkward silences or people avoiding each other, he grew concerned. If the team made mistakes, he defended them. He functioned like a ship's engineer, inspecting the hull for leaks, changing pistons and adding oil as needed. The results spoke for themselves. Disney Animation successfully transformed into a creative powerhouse. The above concludes the summary of the book. Now, we know that belonging signals, vulnerability signals, and goal signals can shape a strong team culture, fostering a sense of security, collaboration, and self-organization. These three cultural cues help create bonds of belonging and identification, drive cooperation based on mutual trust, and convey shared goals and values. In successful teams, whether it's belonging signals, vulnerability signals, or goal signals, they often appear repeatedly. Repetition is key. Some may think that repeating the same thing or behavior is dull and can reduce organizational efficiency and people's interest. However, the value of repeating these signals lies not in what information they convey, but in guiding the team members' attention toward each other and their common goals. As the author said, what might seem like repetition is, in fact, navigation. Congratulations on completing another book. Thank you for listening to this book summary. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share this valuable knowledge with your friends.